Drivers, start your engines. Listening to the fastest show on IE Sports Radio. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr. and I'm welcoming you to take another lap of the extra mile for today, April the 9th, 2020. And as the COVID-19 curve begins to flatten, the light is finally starting to shine at the end of the tunnel, which means we will be back outside, hopefully, and more importantly, back racing sometime soon. But what will that look like? Will there be fans in the stands at those first races back? Or will we all be huddled around our TVs as the engines roar at whatever tracks decide to restart and in some cases start the racing season once again? We're going to get into that before our special guest today with my co-host Caitlin Seen and Michael Ward.
Is it safe to start talking?
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
The reverb's good enough that you were saying hello for both of us.
Yeah, I actually dropped the sound a little bit too quickly there, but yeah, I don't know why that happens. I think it happened because I had to turn on the hardware inputs that it outputs to our fine listeners, and that causes issues because Voicemeeter is a complicated program, and I'm pretty sure I'm like the only person at the station that got the thing working properly. So it has its quirks, but it helps me get their voices out to you guys. But we are back here for another week of the Extra Mile. Mike Harmon Racing's Bayley Currey is our special guest this evening. He'll be with us at 8:15, which gives us a little time to chit-chat. So, Caitlin, how was your week in quarantine this week?
It was actually a little bit rough compared to others, mostly because I just wasn't sleeping very good, and I was having... This is my public service announcement to say that public health or mental health days are a thing. They are a necessity, and you should take them when they come around. I had to take 2 of them this week. It was a little rough, but we're doing okay otherwise.
My week has been, well, other than classes, and getting out to the day job at a WBGR, it's been a lot of just trying to keep sane and trying to keep some sort of a normal schedule, because you don't really have, like you said, you don't have a sleep schedule anymore. I mean, you're just rolling over. I think one site put it, you're basically taking off your night pajamas to put on your day pajamas, because you're not really going anywhere right now, and it's kind of throwing off everyone's schedule. I know for those of us trying to take classes, it's kind of ridiculous right now, but we're all still trying to just figure out how this thing is going to work and get through it as best as we can, which we're trying. We're all trying, but I think we are going to be outside sooner rather than later. But how is that going to work? You really cannot go full bore, as we've said the past couple of weeks. You can't go from everybody locked in their house to everybody can go to everything again. There's going to be a stair-step type process to this, and that even includes racing. And Caitlin, we've already seen several series talking about the possibility of starting without fans. I know NASCAR is trying to figure it out, as they're supposed to get their season started with the Coke 600 now after everything that happened with Virginia, basically wiping out Richmond, and Martinsville with their stay-at-home order. The NBA is trying to figure it out. Everyone's trying to figure. The MLB actually has a plan where they want to get started in May with spring training by taking the teams and putting them in stadiums in Arizona. What do you think the restart of motorsports is going to look like? And do you think it'll just go from nothing to everybody in the stands, or will there be a gradual process to this?
I don't think that you can just jump in. I think that with something like this, that there's not going to be a way to get rid of it 100%. I think it's going to have to go really slowly. I think that you would see sports like, I could see baseball being one of the first ones to come back into play, just because they're at least generally farther away from each other distance-wise. But I don't think, say best case scenario, and they can start spring training in May, and you're looking at like a June, July reopening of sports in America, I truly don't think that there's going to be fans in these stadiums or at these tracks until September. I just don't think that there's a feasible way, because if you jump the gun too soon in any of this, we're going to end up going right back the way we were, and nobody wants that. But also, I feel like everybody's going to be a little bit twitchy too. I don't trust nobody now.
Yeah, everybody is Davidson.
Like here's an example, guys. My kitchen is made up of 2 sets of fluorescent lights, like the tubular lighting. Mm-hmm. And if one of them goes out, like maintenance comes and replaces them for you. One in each set has gone out, and I haven't put in a maintenance request yet because I don't want somebody else in my house. And so, like, I literally have, my kitchen is a cave, is really what it is now. It's a cave. But I don't want somebody else in my space, especially somebody who's in all of these other people's apartments. And so, like, in my head, I'm like, that's like the worst case scenario, is having somebody come in. Whereas before that, you don't really think about something like that. Oh, you need your light fixed, put in a request. So it really is changing how I think that we have to be seeing things, in a sense.
Davidson Crooks in the chat says it's hard to say for racing. It's hard to say for every sport, really. The only thing going for racing that it's outside. I really don't see the NBA or the NHL winning if they restart having fans, because of being inside and everybody that comes with it in such a compressed space. Turin Rodriguez in the chat says the whole world needs a mental health day. No school, no work, no stress at all. I agree with that. And Couch is in the chat this evening. He says, Daryl, we watched Cornhole. Sanity is gone. And yes, Couch and I actually sat down and watched a vast majority of the American Cornhole League 2020 National Championship that was on ESPN this past Saturday, and that took us down. That sounds
terrible. Cornhole? Are we in Indiana?
Look, it took us down a deep rabbit hole dive of a sport that takes itself very seriously, even though a lot of us do not, and that'll have to be a topic for the defining moment if I can work out my schedules to actually get back on the defining moment with Larry sometime. Couch and I will have to get on there and talk about what we found when it came to the American Cornhole League. But back to the racing and back to what we're going to see right now as things sit. Let's take a look at where everyone thinks they're going to go back racing at. Formula One is a who knows situation. They were supposed to start at Canada. That has been postponed. Zandvoort they're talking about that race right now, and the fact that race will probably, they don't want to run that race without fans. I don't think they're going to have much of a choice to run that race without fans, so we will see how that goes with them, with the way it's going, and if they're really that concerned about having fans at Formula One races, and they're probably not going to run this season, to be honest. IndyCar right now is slated to start June 6th at Texas Motor Speedway. Eddie Gossage has already come out and said that the race will be impossible without fans. Again, they might not have a choice. depending on, travel restrictions and everything else in the country. NASCAR right now has the earliest restart date with the Coke 600. It was originally going to be with the first Martinsville night race. However, that got taken out. I was about to say rained out. That got taken out of the equation due to Governor Ralph Northam's order to extend the stay-at-home order until June for the state of Virginia. And I'm going to double-check that NASCAR date really quickly. And that looks like it was going to be, it's going to be the Coke 600 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. At this point, that will be the restart. Guys, do you think we see any of those races go off on those dates, or we're going to see even more pushbacks?
At this point, I feel like I'd be surprised if we saw a race happen before July.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe end of June, definitely not Memorial Day weekend.
Michael, how about you? Because I'm kind of in that boat as well. As I think mid-June, early July is when we get back.
I think the latest we'll get is probably like mid-July, early August.
I know
somewhere around there.
Yeah, I know the one group of people that are going to be slammed are going to be the dirt track community, because a lot of those tracks, I know Hagerstown was supposed to start a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, their season did not start. Those tracks have been losing a lot of money, and there's a lot of teams, a lot of blue-collar teams there. I don't know if they're going to be back once we get started. So all of this is a concern, and we're going to keep monitoring it here. We will continue to keep you updated each week here as the COVID red flag continues now into its 4th week. And right now, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit. When we come back, Bayley Currey will be with us. In the interim, we will be talking a little bit more about motorsports by talking about what happened with the iRacing races on Sunday and how this thing is starting to get a little bit too serious. We'll explain on the other side of this break here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey guys, it's Blake Henley, better known as H-Town Blake to some of you. Happy to announce that Bases Loaded is back in full force. We'll be bringing that high heat every Tuesday night here on IE Sports Radio. So come home, get ready, dig into that batter's box, and see if you can chase that high heat, baby. So we'll be coming to you live with all the stats, all the rundowns, all the division rivalries, and every team that's going to make the playoff push to get to that one and only October and get to the pinnacle of what baseball is, to hoist that Commissioner's Trophy when it's all said and done.
Wrestling fans in the podcast world, you are in the right place to listen to the right show, the premier show in the professional wrestling podcasting world. This is Ring Rambling Radio, and you're listening to one of the co-hosts. I am Martin Sandoval, a.k.a. the SoCal Saint, along with my two co-hosts, the lovely Felicia and my boy Matt. Yes, every Saturday or every other Saturday morning, you can listen to us, the premier wrestling team, giving you the premier wrestling news, rumors, updates, event discussions, everything that has to do with professional wrestling. You're in the right place. IE Sports Radio presents Ring Rambling Radio. Don't miss it, because it's just too sweet.
We're back on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr. Caitlin and Michael are with you this evening. And NASCAR, as you know, is on a break, as everyone is during this great COVID-19 red flag. But the drivers have found something to do. A lot of them have been jumping on iRacing and giving us fans some entertainment in the virtual sense by taking on races at the tracks that would be running had the schedule not been stopped. Here talking to us about some of that and a whole lot more is the driver for Mike Harmon Racing, Mr. Bayley Currey. Bayley, thank you so much for joining us tonight. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. How about y'all?
We're doing good. We're just surviving in our houses, watching the passage of time from inside because we can't go outside. Of course, the weather up here in Maryland has been absolutely wonderful. When we're in this COVID-19 situation, the last few years, we've gotten into this part of April up here, and it's been like 40 degrees. So we can't win for losing. So I hope it's going a lot better than you.
Yeah, I mean, we're about the same down in Texas. It was a really hot day. It would have been a nice day to go out on the lake, but stuck inside, so.
Hopefully we will be outside soon. So let's get started. And I was actually just looking at your Twitter a little while ago, and you kind of put together a do-it-yourself at-home project when it comes to iRacing. Tell the fans a little bit about what you put together there. And I think this is your foyer, I think, is what this is?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm calling you right now, but I just got done working on our third iteration of our simulator. We started out with the wood one, just kind of messing around, seeing if it would work. And we built that one, and I could fit in that one. My brother couldn't, so we got to build one that we could both fit in. So we did that, made that one a little bit nicer. And then I was like, well, let's make like an actual nice one. So we got some aluminum and built this new one. We're almost done with it. I'm looking at it right now. It looks pretty nice. Got done polishing the sides all up. Got everything painted. We're just kind of doing final assembly right now. But pretty excited. I've been having fun making them. My dad brought it up and had the idea, and I was like, I don't know. It kind of might not look that great, but I could say after building our third one, we're getting pretty good at it.
Well, I guess
we're creating a new business on the side now. Bailey, you can sell stimulators. Gotta have something to do.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody's got to have that side hustle. So you were actually in the race on Saturday night for Bristol, as with 80 drivers trying to get into the race on Sunday. NASCAR, they made the decision to, or really not NASCAR, I guess. The powers that be in control of this thing decided to split it up between the stream on Saturday and then the actual race on Sunday. And there was a lot of, to be charitable, there was a lot of controversy when it came to the races at Bristol this weekend. What is it about Bristol on the sim that seemingly makes it so difficult that even the guys that have actually run the track for their actual jobs seem to have been struggling on it?
I mean, it's just the fact that it's through a computer and you're not in the car feeling it. I mean, the same thing that, kind of makes iRacing difficult to me, just not being able to feel the car, not being able to react as fast as they are happening in real time, but through a computer, and it's got to, relay everything through that, what's going on. So I feel like reactions are just a little bit slower in a place like Bristol where your reaction has to be immediate. That's what made it so hectic in both the Saturday night race and the Sunday race.
Yeah, the Sunday race had a lot of controversy in it that we saw play out on Twitter. As we saw with Darrell Wallace Jr., apparently lost a real-world sponsorship, allegedly, over the incidents there when he left out. That was a surprise. What is your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I mean, if they're paying someone to run a race, I feel like you have to run the race if you can. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, that's my only take on that.
I just think
I'm almost bummed that, at Bristol of all places, I feel like you should be able to, get out of the car and actually, fight eeach other.
No, yeah.
Nobody got to throw a helmet at another car. I was a little bummed. Or some ankle guards. It's like, come on, guys. Yeah. If we're going to do this real at Bristol, we should, get the whole authenticity going.
Right. Yeah, maybe iRacing should add that in. Fight off and kind of like in the NHL games.
Yeah, exactly. Tell me that wouldn't bring a little bit more entertainment.
I would actually like to see that come to the fall build, to be able to get out the car and throw your helmet at somebody. I don't know how the sporting code would work for that in iRacing, but who knows? Maybe get negative or I was going to try to make a comment there about the safety rating, but that's not going to work. Anyway, or maybe get positive safety rating if we get out the car.
I don't know how I would feel if I got in a crash in iRacing and the drivers start getting out of the truck and walk towards my car. I don't know how I would feel.
Excited.
It
just makes me think of the Gladiator gif. Are you not entertained?
It would be interesting, but Bailey, we've seen how iRacing has kept the fans entertained. How has it been for you guys actually get into the simulators and actually run a little bit more and keep your skills sharp, even though we're not actually racing right now?
That's definitely good. I've definitely gotten better at iRacing. I don't know how much it will translate over. I definitely use it, when we're actually racing, to kind of get a feel for the track. It's not, it's not the exact same thing, but it gives me a good idea. But, I've just been having fun with it, really. I mean, since we started, we haven't been going to work or anything. I went and got a new computer, and I don't think I left my room for more than an hour for over 3 days. I just iRaced all day long. But, since I got back home to Texas, I've been a little more occupied. We've been building these things and trying to do other things, too. But definitely iRacing is my number one time killer. If I'm close enough to a computer where I can do it, I'll definitely jump on.
So we got the iRacing going on. What else are you doing to pass the time here as we're waiting for everything to go down with COVID-19? So what else have you been doing to pass the time?
Well, I mean, I go to UNC Charlotte. All my classes are online, so I kind of gotta handle that stuff and make sure that's all done and finish the semester out, even though it's online. Got to do that, and stuff like I said. I've been back home in Texas, back in Charlotte. Been helping my dad with stuff around the house. I mean, stuff that seems like every time I come home, I gotta work on something. But the way it goes, I guess.
So, you said you only came out your room for about an hour to due to the iRacing. You found time between races, get some of the homework done and watch some of these Zoom lectures that we've had to go through now with all the classes being pushed online.
Yep.
Have you had to, like, have you printed off, like, a picture of your face yet and just put it in front of the webcam? I feel like
No,
that's
so
what I would have
we
done.
really haven't really been having to do the Zoom lectures as much. I mean, my classes are all pretty math oriented, so they have PowerPoints anyway, and they kind of just been putting those up and giving homework assignments saying read this chapter of the book. A lot of my classes aren't really doing the whole Zoom lecture thing, which I'm thankful for because I don't have to just sit in front of my computer for an hour and a half and try to pay attention in my house because I'm probably not. It'd be a lot harder to pay attention when I have other stuff going on than when I'm actually sitting in the class. But, I can get on there and, go through the PowerPoints, do my homework assignments, things like that. It's not too bad, but it's getting to the point now where I kind of wish I was going to class and not just sitting in my house.
But before all this happened, what was it like being a student but also a race car driver?
Very busy. I work in the shop too at Rickware Racing. Drive a little bit on their cup stuff as well when I get a chance, when they have an opening. But I work for them full time. When I'm not in class, I'm at the shop and I'm working. So it's definitely hard. I mean, it's a lot harder. I mean, going to college for engineering degree is hard in the first place, and having to trying to just have a racing career on top of that makes it a little more difficult. But I manage. I've been racing for a long time, going to school for a long time, so it's difficult, but I'm pretty used to it at this point.
Man, it's amazing stuff to hear that you're able to do that. Me, I don't know if I could.
So have you found some opportunities while you're working at the shop to try, take stuff that they may have talked about in class since you are going for the engineering degree? Have you found opportunities to take some of that stuff that you've learned in class, kind of apply to what you're doing over there at Rickware Racing?
Definitely. I mean, it's not that I won't change anything we're doing because of what I'm saying, but it's I can kind of calculate out. I can put the math behind the things we do and why we do it now. Before I knew what was going on and why we did things and what changes did what to the car, but now I understand why, and I understand how much will change something. So I just kind of see the math behind it now, but it's nothing really new, like nothing new yet. I'm still learning, still got some time in my degree, but I like the stuff that happens in the car. I've been working on race cars since I was 12, so I kind of know. I like to say I know what I'm doing, but I kind of see the math behind it and the reasons why we do things.
So I guess my question for you then is when I think of an engineer that's also a race car driver or vice versa, the first one that always comes to my head is Ryan Newman, because he's kind of who, back when I was younger, I was, looking at going into that, and he's kind of who inspired me to do that. Do you have a specific goal for how you want to use this degree? Is it just to become more comfortable as a race car driver, knowing what's going on with your car, or do you have something else in mind for it, or where is your balance for that, for crossing over with your racing and being an engineer?
I mean, as far as being a race car driver, I definitely like, knowing what's going on, but, there's things could change. I could not be a race car driver, so I'd like to have a backup plan. And that's kind of mostly what it's for, I guess, is have a backup plan. If I don't get to be a race car driver full time, I can still have a job in the racing industry because I love racing and I always will. So, if the engineering degree could take me to be a crew chief or a race engineer or anything like that on a Cup team or even an Xfinity team, it'll be really cool. I mean, I like working in the industry. I like being at the racetrack. But yeah.
So with the season, with us trying to figure out what this season's going to do, right now NASCAR has it set up that July for you guys is going to be extremely busy. We're going to be like 8 races in about 29 days. What type of workload is that going to create? And has there been any phone conversations between you and Rickware Racing and Mike Harmon Racing about how this is going to work going forward? Because on the face of it, it looks like it's going to be a very busy month that we have not seen in the NASCAR industry before.
Oh, it's going to be difficult. I mean, I've definitely talked to some of my buddies that I work with in the shop up there. I mean, it's going to be hard, but I think at the same time it's going to be kind of fun. It'll be kind of back to more of a lot of our guys' roots that work in the industry. I mean, a lot of us come from short track racing, and I mean, if you look at a dirt late model schedule, they race like that all the time. So I think it'll be a lot similar, like really similar to that. I think it won't be, smaller teams, especially like us, won't be taking cars back and forth to the shop as much. I think we'll be racing the same car week to week and kind of, driving from track to track, working in the parking lots, things like that. I mean, it's kind of going to be like a long West Coast swing. Or I guess it'd be about the same length, but just a lot more races in between. So it's definitely going to be hard, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think they might use it as an experiment for 2021. I know they've talked about shortening the schedule, and if they could keep the same amount of races and just shorten it up, they might just be testing us here to see, hey, let's see if these guys can actually pull this off. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a blast. I think, like I said, it'll be like going back short track racing again.
And we know NASCAR is trying to get back to its short track roots. Would you like to see maybe some in 2021, say this does go well in July, would you like to see them take a chance at putting some midweek races at some short tracks during the summer for you guys just to get through some more
absolutely.
races and shorten the schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be fun. I mean, having a 2-month off season, it's hard. That almost makes it harder on us than once we're ready, just racing week after week and even midweek. Only having a 2-month off season, get stopped, and then we get all the way stopped, and then we gotta get all the way back going again. So it's definitely a really short off season. So if we could if we can just consolidate the schedule a little bit and run some midweek races, and then come to the short tracks. I mean, I love the short tracks. I think they put on the best racing. They're definitely the most fun to drive. So I'd be all about that.
And how would a shorter schedule benefit the smaller teams in NASCAR, particularly on the Cup side?
It's hard. I mean, like I said, once you get stopped, it's you get to Homestead, or I guess it'll be Phoenix this year, but usually you go to Homestead, everybody comes home, you gotta you take a week off, then you got Thanksgiving, so you have some more time off, and then before you know it, it's December, and you gotta start thinking about what you're gonna be doing next year, what you're gonna do for cars, what cars you're stripping down, what cars you're kind of leaving alone, what cars you're happy with last year, and what you're gonna take to which places, and then come January, you're wide open until Daytona. I mean, because you got to go. I mean, you essentially have a month because you got to leave usually, the Thursday before or the Wednesday before the duels, which are or before the qualifying weekend, which is the week before the Daytona 500. So, I mean, by the time you really get stopped and go through the holidays and everything, I mean, you're wide open back trying to get everything ready. I mean, that's how it was for us. I know. Getting our Daytona car ready, and they had done a thing this year where we had to get our chassis inspected. Every team had to get every single one of their chassis re-inspected this year. So trying to find a place where we could get our cars in there, because the big teams are taking cars over there every day, every hour. So it's hard for a smaller team to get in there and find opportunities, or find an opening for us to get in there. So I think a longer off season would be nice. I mean, at the same time, it's harder on, all team owners, big teams, small teams, everything, because then you don't have any income coming in because you're not racing. I think, NASCAR is one of the only sports that really depends on, the purse money from each race. I mean, I don't know what, like a basketball team, if they get all their money just from or playing one game or what, or if they get, I guess they get sales and everything else, but I mean, for a race team, if you're not racing, you are not making money. You're only spending it. So I think it's kind of a dual-sided coin. I think there's goods and bads to it, but, I'd be all about it as a driver. I mean, you get more time off. You spend it with your family. I mean, I think the mechanics would like it more. I mean, because, even, when you're going during the summer, even how it is now, I don't even know if you'll be gone anymore just because, we have late nights at the shop every week. But I think it'd be something to see. I think I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to the summer, or I'm looking forward to back whenever we get going, just to see how it all plays out. And if it works out good, I'd be glad to do it in 2021.
So go ahead, Caitlin. Then we have a question from the chat. So
yeah,
Caitlin
I was just kind of curious about it. Just speaking of somebody on the go, and you'd mentioned that right now you're, fortunate enough to be back in Texas. Am I assuming correctly for the fact that you work with Rick Ware that you live up in like the greater Charlotte area during the season usually?
Yeah. I mean, I live there full time. I just came back. Charlotte and North Carolina was going on a pretty heavy lockdown quarantine deal. So,
yes, we
I
are.
had an opportunity. A friend of mine was coming back. He was bringing a truck back, a big 18-wheeler. I was like, I hopped in with him because I mean, I'd rather be back in Texas with my family during this deal, and the rules here are a little less strict. So I'd rather be back here, get to see them, because we know they postponed Texas, so I wasn't going to be able to see them when I normally would. So I figured I'd come back, spend some time with them, and get out of Charlotte for a little bit.
We are on super lockdown here. You are very correct. I live in Charlotte as well, so I feel you there. My family's all in Michigan, and if they weren't in a super strict lockdown too, I was like, maybe I'll come see you. And I was like, wait,
yeah,
maybe not. Maybe I'll just stay here. But I guess that was part of my curiosity too. Is it's awesome that you got to go home to Texas to see your family during all of this. Because I feel like that's always the biggest challenge, especially when we're younger and we go somewhere and then you're traveling all the time to see family. So I was saying, I almost wonder if that would be a benefit for you as well, or for drivers, I guess, in general, if you had a shortened schedule, because then you would actually, I feel like, have more of an opportunity to be able to go home and see family in between, since it is such a chaotic work schedule in racing.
Oh, definitely. I mean, like I said, you're already going 1,000 miles an hour, even how it is. So, what's running a couple races on Wednesdays to me? So, if that could get us home a little earlier, I can get us a little longer vacation time. I'd be all about that.
Personally, after this break and how lockdown we're here in Maryland as well, I will take a few midweek races. So keep them coming. As many races we can get through, just we don't have to extend the season, I think would be great as well. Because I know there's been a lot of plans floating around about what's going to happen. We do have a question from the chat. This is from Larry B. He wants to know, what is your favorite track to race on as a driver, and is it the same to work on as an engineer?
Man, it changes. Every time I go somewhere and I run good, I'm like, oh, this is my favorite track. But I like the, I like the older, worn out tracks. I like Darlington a lot. We had a good run at Auto Club with Mike until we had an issue in the race. But like I said, I like the old tracks. I like Darlington. I like Auto Club a lot. Richmond's fun. Any place where you're sliding around, Richmond's really tough to get tracks up off the corner, and you could really burn your tires up in a long run. So strategy plays a factor there. I like that place. But I really think my favorite track is probably Texas, just because it's home. I've always had good luck there. I've always ran well there. I know a lot of people don't like it because it's hard to pass. It's very one lane. But I like it a lot. I like how both ends are so different. I kind of like how it's one lane. It makes it more fun to pass. You got to kind of root people up out of the way. It's fast, and it's home. So I'll say Texas.
And she's pretty. Let's be honest. Yeah. I've been there.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous. She is a pretty track to be at. That's for sure. Now I gotta know. Now I'm going to be sidetracked until I know. Are you a sports fan in any other realm other than racing, Bailey?
I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, and
that's what I was
about
ask.
It for sports.
And I was liking you so well, man.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I say that, people say, "Oh, you ruined it," but I'm sticking to it. I am a Dallas Cowboys fan, and I am proud.
Look, it counts for Bailey because he's from Texas. You outside of Texas Cowboys fans, we gonna have words. But Bailey's been in Texas all his life, so that's not gonna change anything from us. And I'm a Redskins fan, so we'll only dislike each other 2 weeks out of the year. Although that rivalry needs to get back to where it was before we were born, because. Man, those used to be some games. But you've been racing here the last couple of years with Mike Harmon Racing. How is it working there with Mike? Because we got to talk to him at the start of this whole COVID red flag deal of interviews that we've been doing, and he seems like quite the character.
Oh, he is. I've had a great time working with Mike. It's been good times. I mean, we've had more speed in some places than others, but he always tries to keep the morale high, and it's definitely fun working with him. We have some fast race cars sometimes, so like I said, Auto Club, we're real good. We were really good at Texas last year. We're really good at Atlanta last year. I mean, when we hit it right, where we have speed and we have good runs. So I definitely enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to the season getting back going so I can get back racing with them.
And as we've seen with little teams, when they get to this track on the week, it's all about building momentum. And it really feels like, Bayley, you guys are starting to build momentum, having the good races at California and Phoenix. And then, of course, we get to Atlanta and everything gets shut down. Do you think having that past performance, having good races for the team is going to help you guys get back going a lot quicker when we get back racing?
I think so. I mean, that is something that's similar, through all sports is momentum. And once you get a few good runs going, they kind of come a lot easier after that. It's just like people say, your first win's always the hardest, because the next one's a lot easier. So, you get good runs, and you just as long as you stay hungry and you keep trying to build, you'll keep getting good runs, and you'll eventually run better. So the guys over at Mike Harmon work really hard to get better each week. So I'm pretty sure when we come back, we'll pick right back up where we left off.
So we will get that season back going sooner rather than later. And Mike, Bayley, you've also been doing some races in the truck series as well for CMI Motorsports. How did that deal come together between you guys and Ray?
It's kind of just a random deal, He actually shot me a message on Facebook, asking what my deal with the truck series was, what I was available for this season, and I was pretty much open. So I said, yeah, let's go run some races. It was unfortunate in Vegas, we didn't get any practice, so we weren't able to actually make the race. But I'm looking forward to getting to go with those guys too. I know they have fast trucks. I know if we can go out, get some good practice in, work together a little bit, get some notes between, me and the crew chief. I think we could have strong runs. You saw Stefan run good there in Vegas with them. So, I'm ready to get going with those guys too. I've talked to Ray a little bit. So, the same deal, man. I mean, we're sitting here ready to go, but just waiting.
Bayley, looking at where your career is right now, running with Mike Harmon Racing, as that team is starting to put together better and better finishes, and then with CMI Motorsports, they're getting things going with how the Ilmor engines has helped a lot of the smaller truck teams be able to be competitive. You seem to be in this position in your career where you can help two smaller teams really get to the top echelons of the Xfinity and the truck series. Is that a little bit more of does that help really with the expectation to help give you a bit more energy to get into the truck?
I guess I try to run as good as I can anywhere I go, whether it's a smaller team, building or a big team that is built. But I mean, this is the same mindset for me pretty much every week. It's a steel race car, got 4 tires and a steering wheel. So I go out and drive in circles as fast as I can. And like I said, building the team, it's definitely something I like to do. I have a certain sense of pride about it. If I know that I've helped someone get somewhere else, it makes me feel good, and I know it helps those guys out. I don't like helping people, so. But yeah, I mean, it definitely has. I have some kind of expectation, going in. And I feel like they might too. But like I said, I used to go out and drive. You got 4 tires and a steering wheel. It's all the same.
So we talked about how you got hooked up with CMI. How did you come across Mike Harmon, and how did you get connected with him to run for Mike Harmon Racing?
So that came about through Rick Ware. I was working there, and originally Mike had the second car for Mike was originally under Rick Ware, but Mike was kind of housing it and taking care of it. So I was driving for Rick Ware some last year. I was working there, driving for him. And, you know, the Xfinity deal came about, and Rick threw me in there with them, and I started working with those guys. You know, they crewed the whole deal. And once Rick kind of got out of the Xfinity series, Mike then took over what was then the 17 car and is now the 47 car. And Mike just kind of kept me around. You know, I guess he liked the way I ran and, you know, treated the equipment and was able to work with the team. So, yeah, he's kept me around. I've been running some more races for him. Rick kind of got out of the deal, I think it was like middle of the year last year sometime. And, you know, Mike took it over full-time towards the end of the year last year and the beginning of the year this year. So, I mean, yeah, I guess he took a liking to me, and I appreciate that. And been running some races and been having some good runs.
I think that's good when an owner takes a liking to you, because that means you're always going to have a job somewhere. So that's good. And Mike seems to be a great judge of character. We've watched your races the past couple of years, or last couple of weeks, and it was good to see. And you actually got your start in Bandoleros. Tell the fans a little bit about what those type of cars are.
Oh, well, basically, they're built by company Charlotte U.S. Legends Cars International. They have a Briggs & Stratton engine in them. It's kind of like a souped-up lawnmower motor. They make about 30 horsepower. Kind of like a go-kart axle in the back with, you know, got rear springs, but solid in the front. Yeah, I mean, I don't really remember too much about them, honestly. That was a long time ago at this point, but yeah, definitely got my start in those. I got my start actually in go-karts, but my oval track career got started in Bandoleros. I was actually at the Nationals up in Denton, Texas. There's a go-kart track up there, and we had a day off. We were driving by, and they had the rental deal set up out there, and we saw that, drove over there, got in one, made a few laps, and I think we might have had one like the next month. So my dad always raced circle track, so he kind of liked that a lot more. Go-karts were getting pretty fast at that time, too. I was, you know, running 70 miles an hour with no roll cage. And my mom liked the Bandolero because it had a roll cage on it, and I'm 9 years old. So, yeah, you know, went out and did the rental deal at Texas Motor Speedway and said have one the next month, and the rest is history from there.
Your mom probably is breathing a little bit easier now.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little bit. Because now, not only do you have a roll cage, but you have a composite body, too. So at least you're covered more so than not now.
Seatbelts and everything. And go-karts
right.
didn't even have
full-fledged. It's funny.
Did not realize the go-karts didn't even have I didn't even realize they didn't have seatbelts. So, yeah, crashing one of those at 70 miles per hour does not sound fun at all. So, a lot better to have the tin tops and the harnesses and everything in there that keeps our drivers safe. And that being said, Bayley, this has been a lot of fun getting to talk to you today. When we get back started, what are your expectations for the rest of the season, and what are your goals going on for the rest of 2019 or 2020? Sorry,
2020
into 2021.
I mean, expectations. Just pick right back up where we left off. You know, with MHR, try to keep getting those good runs. Try to keep bettering, you know, my best Xfinity finish with those guys. Maybe try to, you know, break a top 15 here or there. And then, you know, run some cup races with Rick. I'm looking forward to working with them this year. Working with those guys in the shop all the time makes it a lot of fun. When, you know, when I actually get to race with them. So, looking forward to that. And then, you know, as far as, you know, yeah, it's my expectations and goals. Like I said, try to get a top 15 in Xfinity. Try to just keep bettering my best Xfinity stages. I figure as long as I keep getting better, eventually I'll be winning races. So, one step at a time, better and better. Like I said, just keep, you know, building myself, try to, you know, build my social media a little bit here and there, try to get better finishes, try to get more people's, in front of more people, try to get a little bit more noticed, and just keep digging here.
So before we go, we kind of made this a little, we like to go out on a silver lining here right now during the COVID red flag. And when this first got started, there was a certain item that became extremely rare, almost to the point that it should probably be the type of currency we use in a post-apocalyptic situation instead of bottle caps, for those of you that played Fallout. So for this one, I'm going to turn to Caitlin. I'm going to let her ask this question, and we'll take it from there. Caitlin, go ahead.
Well, now I almost wonder if it should be twofold, since you started this in Charlotte, and now you're in Texas. So it's a twofold question for you, I guess. But we got to know, Bailey, do you have enough toilet paper?
Since I've gotten back to Texas, yes. I was running low when I left Charlotte. I did not hop on the train to go buy, 400 rolls of it, when the whole thing hit. I bought toilet paper probably a few months ago. I bought a big old pack of it, so I was in good shape. I'm the only one in my apartment, so I had no issues with that. But by the time it was coming, like I was about to leave, I was like, well, it's a good thing I'm leaving because I am running low. So and I know my mom will take care of that. So
Mom's got you covered.
I'm in good shape. Yeah.
Good.
Moms for the win there. Hey, everyone, check out Bayley Currey on Twitter at Bayley Currey, and also go give Mike Harmon Racing a follow on Twitter at MHR Racing. Thank them so much for allowing Bayley to come and speak with us this evening. Bayley, thank you so much for joining us, and we would love to have you back later on in the season once we get back going.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate y'all having me on.
You're welcome. Have a good one,
Thanks.
man. So we are going to take a quick break to come and wrap things up because something just came across the Twitter line that we have to get into before we go off tonight. And that's all I'm going to say about it, and you'll find out more on the other side of this break. We'll be right back here on The Extra Mile on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Wrestling fans in the podcast world, you are in the right place to listen to the right show, the premier show in the professional wrestling podcasting world. This is Ring Rambling Radio, and you are listening to one of the co-hosts. I am Martin Sandoval, a.k.a. the SoCal Saint, along with my two co-hosts, the lovely Felicia and my boy Matt. Yes, every Saturday or every other Saturday morning, you can listen to us, the premier wrestling team, giving you the premier wrestling news, rumors, updates, event discussions, everything that has to do with professional wrestling. You're in the right place. IE Sports Radio presents Ring Rambling Radio. Don't miss it, because it's just too sweet.
Hey USRN fans, do you have a product or company you're trying to promote? Look no further. USRN is teaming up with small local businesses trying to establish themselves via online promotion. Let us know if you're interested. Email us at usrnradio@gmail.com to learn more.
Hey, we're back on the Extra Mile here on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Daryl, Caitlin, and Michael with you this evening. You just heard from Bayley Currey, driver at Mike Harmon Racing. Give a big shout out to Mike Harmon Racing for putting that together. Please go over and give them a follow on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And give Bayley Currey a follow at Bayley Currey as well. Keep up with all his exploits on working on his homemade do-it-yourself simulators, as everyone is trying to keep busy here in the COVID red flag, which is soon to be coming to an end, as long as we follow the CDC guidelines and practice the social distancing and wash your hands and stop stealing the toilet paper, and we will all get through this. So we got about 5 minutes left.
Wash your hands,
please. So we got 5 minutes left in the program. What I thought we were going to talk about when we came out of break turned out to be a false alarm, thank goodness, but it does kind of lead me into a conversation we can have before we close out, which is the Bubba Blue Emu thing. So, real fast, Blue Emu got really mad that Bubba Wallace decided to jump out of the race because he got wrecked twice in a lap by Clint Boyer and just said, you know what, forget it, I'm done. Bubba then jumps on Twitter basically saying that a lot of people were blowing up his inbox because he quit out a race that wasn't even real and was having a joke about it. Blue Emu apparently took that 200% serial and decided to cancel a potential real-world sponsorship with Bubba Wallace over a race that doesn't count for much anything other than pride. Which gets to a point, guys, where I think, like, I get it. iRacing is all we've got right now. We've been breaking records with iRacing on multiple, for multiple weeks now at Fox. But it feels like we are taking this thing just a little bit too serious.
Well, there's no balance. Like, it's like people are either taking it 173% too serious, or they're like literally in the negative for taking it serious, like they don't care at all. And so there's like this no in between balance, and I feel like you're kind of losing the setup now, because I get it that it's racing, but also if I'm going to be watching cars that don't exist on a TV screen for my time, I want it to be entertaining. Like, I want to have fun watching it. Like, I don't need people to be 173% serious in this because it's a freaking video game. But, like, because there's no balance, I think that's why you're seeing stuff like that. And so it's just almost making it not fun. Like, Texas I enjoyed. I didn't watch Homestead. Texas I enjoyed, though. I mean, it was what it was. I'm just not a big person, like, for, like, simulator/video game stuff. And so I think it's hard for somebody like me to get into it in general, but I still had a fun time, at least. I mean, I picked at it, but it was a fun time doing it. And then I caught the end of Bristol, and, like, I was just like, any enjoyment I had at Texas, you guys have literally sucked the life out of. I'm like, I don't even want to watch it anymore. Because there's this dramatic thing. Like, I mean, I'm just saying this, and I'm not the type of like, I don't play video games of any sort, but I feel like if you are getting really upset in a game, the easiest thing is to walk away. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what my mom taught me as a kid too. Instead of getting in a fight, you walk away. And so Bubba walked away, and he's like getting like annihilated for it. And I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, I'm sure that the guy tweeting the Blue Emu tweet was probably doing it on the toilet. Like, we can't take any of this seriously. And it's just really dramatic to me, and it's a little disappointing.
Well, as I look at it, I'm a big video gamer when I'm not, watching racing or going to class. Michael's the same way, and so both of us know there's some times where you just got to go, you know what? If I try to finish this match, I'm going to end up getting suspended from the game. So I'm just going to put this down, go walk off somewhere, and calm down and soak my head, and we'll try this again another day. Bubba decided at that moment the juice was not worth the squeeze, and a lot was made on Twitter about how Clint Boyer drove that race, and not a lot of it was good. So I'm with Bubba 200%. It's just a game, y'all. You know, yes, it is a sim, but at the end of the day, it's a game, and they are having fun by at least attempting to play this game at a high level. But you cannot extrapolate anything serious about a driver's commitment to the sport by what happens in a video game.
I mean, Larry Mack was eating an ice cream on literally on public television.
Mm-hmm.
And we get mad at somebody for, like, in this video game, and he's eating ice cream on TV. Like, there's just no... Which I enjoyed. I was kind of jealous of his ice cream. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, I would have walked away, too. Yeah, I was not pleased with Clint Boyer. Like, I just... Like, you can't... I don't know. Stop kicking a man when he's down. Like, it's just an unfair thing to do. Over a video game. Yeah,
and if that ice cream thing was not a Days of Thunder reference, because I didn't hear they made mention to it because I had my headphones on listening to Garrett Smithley because he was streaming during the race. If they did not make a Days of Thunder reference, then the ice cream was wasted.
I wish I would have known, but I had my volume turned down.
Yeah.
It was both of us.
So that will just about do it for this episode of The Extra Mile. Again, big ups to Bayley Currey for joining us this weekend. We will have more guests next week. In fact, can I find the guest list? Probably able to find the guest list before we get out of here. But I know one place where you can find where we will be announcing next week's guest. That is the Extra Mile Twitter page. You can go over there at the Extra Mile IE Sports 1 to get all the updates you need for the show. You can also follow our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Caitlin is at Caitlin Seam and at Seam Radio. Michael's at Stargazer_FX, and I am at DK Jr. 12. And remember, check out iesportsradio.com. Find out more about the host, get involved in the forums, listen to past episodes, and a whole lot more. And also make sure that if you miss any episode of any iSports Radio show, check it out on Spreaker, Showreel, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, SoundCloud, and other places where podcasts are heard. So with that being said, for Michael and Caitlin, I'm Daryl. This has been The Extra Mile, and we will see you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody. Hey guys, before we go, quick update on the guest for next week. That will be Blake Reynolds of Team Dillon Racing /RCR. He is in the Coca-Cola iRacing series. We're going to get to talk to him, and I'm also going to work on trying to get another guest for there potentially as well. We will see what happens there, but we will see you guys next week, and wash your hands and stop stealing all the toilet paper.